I wish my mother were dead. I, 23F, grew up in an extremely toxic house because of constant fights between my mom and dad. When I was young, I couldn't understand how severe the problem because I was not allowed to go to my friends' places and I could never understand the gravity of it until 10th grade when I found a close group of friends from school and their stories made me deeply question my life. I'm very distant from my father and he barely talks to me or I, to him. My mother has a particularly vicious tongue and has said many hurtful things to me over the years. Tuhi abort kardina chahida. Paida karka galti ho gai mary. She has said this to me a lot of times and despite how it hurt me, I got numb to the statement and figured that it's her frustration from her terrible marriage that is being projected onto me. Now that I think, I have never heard her say such a thing to my siblings. She frequently complained about my father to me all the time, calling him a good-for-nothing, useless, responsibility-escaping jerk. Growing up, I noticed that all my years of education were funded by my mom and my dad never contributed anything. Everything related to me was paid for, from my mom's side of the income. This seemed very weird to me because he did contribute to the education fees of my older brother and sister. Later in 10th grade, I came across some messages in my mom's phone from an unknown number mentioning me several times. Fast forward to 11th, we were given a project in school to map out blood groups of parents and grandparents and end conclusion. I cannot be my father's daughter because I'm OVE and he's AB plus VE, which got me digging family skeletons and replaying my past. And with thorough research and collecting enough evidences, I believe it's true. I was born out of a love affair between my mother and her colleague who has 3 children of his own. Since I had been used as a free therapist to my mother all her life, I never questioned her and always pitted her life and her marriage. I made several attempts to convince her to divorce him, but I was shocked to find out when I was 19 that they had already been divorced 6 months before my birth but chose to stay together because of the social taboo. The timing of the divorce and the fact that my father doesn't contribute to any of my financial needs makes me think he knows about the affair and my illegitimacy too. 4 years ago, I moved out of my parents' house to pursue my college in a city far, far away from home, an intentional choice, and being away from them has revealed a lot of damage I didn't know I had endured. My father was distant and absent, but my mother's verbal and emotional abuse has left me anxious when it comes to interacting in a healthy manner with people/friends. I blend in well and am a likable person with no obvious social problems, but I have waves of depression where I cannot get out of bed over minor triggers, as small as someone sharing a fun story about their family. I'm a people pleaser of the worst degree and cannot help overthinking major/minor interactions. I cannot emotionally regulate myself well and shift between extreme states and feel extremely uncomfortable to the point of a complete breakdown when communicating my wants or needs or boundaries. My boyfriend, who I'm dating for 4 years, is helping me right now developing boundaries and asserting myself and feeling okay with it, and I'm learning to be better. But every now and then, I fall back into a place of darkness and cannot help but feel extremely lonely when my friends can go back to their families and I have none. My bond with my siblings has also eroded and took a hit with my discovery of the affair because of the difference in treatment they received versus what I received. I found out a few years ago that they already knew about my illegitimacy and carried out their own individual research and joked about it with me, _______ uncle is your actual dad. As a teenager, the whole thing was extremely painful and I went into a silent shell which they couldn't break, and now I have no one to call family. I merely have obligations that I constantly run from. As I grew older, I chose to put everything behind me and made a decision not to confront my mother or anyone in the family simply because I cannot tolerate any more chaos than I have already tolerated. But a call with my mom a week ago undid every form of healing in 30 seconds. It was a casual conversation about my brother's new marriage, and somewhere in the middle, she started talking shit about my sister-in-law whom I defended, to which she said, "Is she your mother or me?" And I said that is irrelevant. "You're the one in the wrong here." And she replied with, "Don't be like your father. If I see even one trait of your father in you, I will kill you with a knife." I was too shocked to say anything and she hung up. She has always used me as a punching bag for whenever she's frustrated with her own choices in life and has repeatedly put me down verbally and made multiple remarks along the lines of "your father." All my life, something she has not done with my siblings. She cannot say it out loud, but I know she regrets not getting an abortion. For all the times in my life, she made me feel so worthless, I have always wished I were dead. But here I am, hating you out loud, Mom. I wish you were.
The original text that I took the liberty to translate. Text 1. Wateri mahai kamai? Text 2. Apni bap jc mat ho. Tir bap kuek bi lakshan dike tujmi to chakumar kunikal dungi.